Hello, my name's Andrew, and today we're doing a first burn of the tiny wood stove Dwarf 3 kilowatt for van life. The first thing I did was fit the flue onto the stove so that I had at least 40 inches of pipe for a strong draft. Then I built up a small little kindling fire, which I let go for 15 minutes, using the bare bones blower, which I got from Tiny Wood Stove, which worked really well to get it going. Next, I used some larger pieces of wood to make a medium-sized fire, and then kept that going for an hour, making sure it was around 450 degrees by adjusting the flue and opening or shutting the door. I did find it really helpful to use one of those infrared heat sensors pointed at the wall, because in the manual, Tiny Wood Stove says that you don't want to get the walls hot too fast because it can actually cause the paint to fail instead of curing. Once the hour was up, I built an even bigger fire and then kept that at 600 degrees for another hour. After I was done, I used the little sifter knob to get the ash down into the bottom tray, and then used the handle attachment to turn the tray into a mini shovel for getting the rest of the ash out. And that was it. It was like really easy to do the Tiny Wood Stove first burn, and the Dwarf 3 kilowatt is so cute. You know, it's like just the right size where it produces a lot of heat, but it's not overwhelming for a small space like when you're doing van life. And having gone through a whole install process with a propane tank and a heater with the Dickinson Newport, I honestly like having a wood stove much better. Essentially, I wanted to have one from the beginning, but then I was just watching videos and just thinking about some situations in which it might be impractical, like if I was going to a national park or something and staying when the weather was cold and they wouldn't allow wood fire in the van. But realistically, I'm probably not going to be doing that much traveling when it's cold, and a wood stove just feels so much more natural. It's just really simple compared to propane, which it was just such a nightmare having to get this heavy ass tank up mounted under the right spot in the van, and then it was really hard to work because there's no room and I'm like lying on my back. And then of course you have to install the whole wire, you know, or the tubing all the way up into the van. And then the propane gas itself smells really awful. It smells like rotten eggs, and this is something that they put in there. The gas itself is odorless and it's for safety obviously, but I don't want to smell rotten eggs every single time I have to fill my propane tank. Plus, back to the original point, like there's just something so primal about making a wood fire. It feels natural, like it's almost this living thing that you're taking care of, whereas propane just has this very like artificial, disgusting sort of vibe. And overall, I just like how with a wood stove, everything is like contained. You know, you have the stove and then you have the pipe that goes out the top, and that's it. You know, there are no other parts, there are no tubes to worry about leaking, there's nothing under the van, everything is just contained. It's like I would rather have something that's simple and maybe a little bit more difficult than something that's easy but like really complicated. And yeah, I just can't wait to finish up the rest of the install because I know it's gonna look really cool in the van. It's gonna be fun to use, and you just can't beat the cozy vibes of a wood stove. Anyways, that's my first burn of the Tiny Wood Stove Dwarf 3 kilowatt, and I'll keep you guys updated when I do the full install in the van. But for now, thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you next time. Peace.